this is somebody who's the audience thinks is one kind of person, and then makes these discoveries about as the movie goes on. So I kind of get to take advantage of the fact that I'm playing my own vision of what somebody like this character would be. It's hard to explain exactly, except that Robert's really smart and understands movies really well, and because he's written a multi-layered script where you have one level of reality and then you reveal another level of reality, you really can't appreciate kind of the whole movie entirely, maybe until you watch it the second time, because there's so much of it that is might seem a little off or a little strange or disconcerting, and then later on you understand why it is that way. And I really like the complicated, multi-layered aspect of it, and I like the acting challenge of basically my characters, I play a detective at the beginning, and then you realize later that that entire period has been where I'm under this like hypnotic spell and being kind of taken through this fantasy. So it's really my fantasy of what a detective's like. It's not really a real detective, which is kind of a lot like what some movies are. So it plays into the genre tropes of the detective movie in a kind of a fun way. It gets to play with that. And then it turns out I'm just a much more normal kind of regular dad, a guy. And so that's fun. I get to play multiple characters. The movie's about a guy trying to find his daughter who's missing. And the series of discoveries you make over the course of the movie about what really happened and who's really got the daughter and why. And a lot of different motives are revealed, and like a lot of fun movies with twists and turns, it stays fun the whole way through because it keeps being surprising.
Great.
What made me want to do the movie was that the script had a number of different levels to it. I thought it was one thing, turned into something else. And by the end, I realized this is going to be a lot of fun to play this character. And even more than that, because of Robert and my admiration for him as director, I've always wanted to work with him. I've always been inspired by him, what he's done from the beginning of his career on. And I make it a kind of mission to work with directors that I can learn from. And I've learned a lot. I love working down here in Robert's whole setup. He told me about it. I didn't really understand what he had going on, and it's hard for me not to be jealous because it's my fantasy world. He's very much like, somebody came and visited me and was like, he's like a kid with toys. He's like you. And I was like, yeah, I feel the same way. Like, he's got all this great stuff to play with, this backlot of his own, and it's like a movie filmmaker's fantasy. My favorite thing about the characters in this movie is that every time you think you understand them, you learn something new and they change. And so all of the characters are really fun that way. The actors are terrific, but I really love the change that my character makes in particular. I think it's really fun. The benefit of having directed movies is that when you work with somebody who's really sharp technically, you kind of know what they're looking for. You know what they're doing. You know what they want, and hopefully I know how to give it to them. And it's really lovely with Robert because he kind of treats me with the respect of, hey, you know what I'm doing and what I'm going for, and that shorthand, and so we can cut to the chase very fast. And I know that when he skips through stuff, he really is only going to use this piece for the end and this shot, another piece in the earlier shot, and I appreciate and respect the speed with which he moves, as well as the precision and desire for excellence. And it's really interesting to me, and I've learned a lot because I've seen how you can both move really fast and do good work, and those things don't usually go hand in hand. It's such a fun environment. Robert's such a fun filmmaker. He's such an open, collaborative guy, and we just have common interests. And if I could, I would do exactly what he's done. This is my fantasy filmmaker world, so it is a joy. I didn't know what it was going to be like coming into this, and it's kind of, I feel like I found a kindred spirit in Robert in the sense that we both really love all the technical, creative aspects that go into filmmaking, and it's really fun to work with somebody who you both admire and look up to, and who's really friendly and kind, and who is really inclusive in his process. He really wanted to do a kind of homage to Hitchcock. He wanted to make this movie like the classic Hitchcock films, in-camera stuff, letting the concept and the directing be the special effects in a way, the sort of old-fashioned filmmaking that relied on the story and told the story with a certain style, And a lot of directors will tell you, this is what I want to do in this movie, and they'll give you a description or something that they're inspired by, and then they do it and it just looks like every other movie. Because Robert's so good and so talented, he really does make it feel like both modern and like a movie from the 40s or 50s made by a master filmmaker. And he's really bold with how he uses music and editing and photography to emulate that style and update it, but play on it in a really fun way that I think is unique and interesting. Like my kids, constantly, make fun of me, and they won't watch any of my movies. But I showed them some clips from this thing, and my daughter was like, "That actually looks kind of interesting." So I think that's the best review I could get, and I hope that audiences come away with it having really enjoyed the movie. Lisi is just wonderful. I've been such a fan and admirer of hers for so long, and I was really hopeful that we could get her for the movie, and when that worked out, I was really excited. And she's just a real pro, and she's so committed, and she's so passionate about what she does. It's contagious, you can't help but really feel a tremendous amount of energy and kind of excitement for the art form when you work with her. So, and those have been the people that I've principally done most of my scenes with, and they're just fabulous.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!